Hey, peace world. I gotta get cooking immediately because it's a work break. But pay me no mind. My name is Wood. Please hit that like button if you dig the way any of the information is being discussed or previewed or whatever. I'm not really gonna do a episode or a breakdown of the most recent episode of the last day of Ptolemy Gray on Apple TV Plus, starring Samuel L. Jackson and Dominique Fishback. I said a couple of things last review in my last review slash reaction that I was kind of spot on in a way. A bigger discussion here. Um, so I don't know. I guess nobody was picking. And I'm not trying to beg people for, feedback and whatnot. Maybe you like just maybe the thing is, hey, just break it down and give me my recap, and I don't, and that's it. Cool. But here, this episode, just really it started hitting me that the show is going away. It's only 6 episodes. It's a limited series or whatever. And, the reawakening of Ptolemy Gray offered a great opportunity or an opportunity to see to learn about this great character. This multi-layered character who spans from sharecropping to smartphones and requesting a car on your phone. So that whole juxtaposition right there, that this 91-year-old man was back here in the era of lynching and sharecropping. Fast forward all the way up to today is something that we just don't really get to see. And hearing all the wisdom that he has to offer, and him imparting different things to, Roger and Robin, his dealings with and how he addresses the Dr. Rubin, and then all this other stuff that he started doing with getting his affairs in open. And what I said last week was like the realization that a lot of us can't, a lot of black men, regardless of what we want to say, not a lot of us are able to go out here and really impact our community. We're not able to be leaders. We can't affect much change. We can't control what's going on in our communities, what's trending, what's going away, what traditions we're beyond, we're moving away from. We really can't. And that's what I was talking about. Like I said, the last recap with respect to how disappointed or how much regret Ptolemy was living with because he couldn't carry out his uncle's or Coy Dog's mission for him, that he gave him as his 7-year-old kid. Go save our people with this treasure. Now we see Ptolemy has real money. Real money. I can't remember if it was 17, if the coins remaining are 17 point whatever million for all of them or just the one. But so that's what the key had. The key unlocked the box, and him digging up the treasure in the house showed us these doubloons or these valuable coins that are worth a lot of money. And 17 million is damn near generational money, in my estimation. So this episode really just unlocked this. It gave, it unlocked this new storyline or whatever, that he has real money. It's not a matter of, well, here's just $40,000 amongst 8 people. That's not going to go very far. Like, nah, this dude can affect people's lives. But he's still just choosing to do most of it through Robin. And then along with that, he's trying to set up his family, on a certain level. And Robin doesn't want that responsibility because a couple episodes ago, she told us she saw the evil that people get into over money, and she just, as a 17-year-old, she's already wise enough to know that's not what she wants to be involved with. She's willing to go out here in the world and work to get hers, and stay away from it. Come easy, no good, pretty much. So yeah, so that's going on. The other thing, so we see, he has all of this real money that he can put out there. And then what made me kind of sad this episode, he started stammering while he was trying to give his speech at the gathering that he asked Niecy to put together. And that lets us know, yeah, we're down to an episode and a half, or an episode and a third, or whatever it was at that part in Nina. And it's like, damn, man, we get something that's good and enjoyable, and we got to get ready to say goodbye to it already. And I don't know about you, but a lot of these shows, like, I don't watch a lot of episodes multiple times like I did when stuff was on regular TV. And I rarely go back and watch any seasons of a particular series more than once. Whereas, like I said, back in 2006 when The Wire was on, I might watch a Wire episode 3 times, and I've already rewatched the series maybe 3 or 4 times in the box set that I have. But here with Ptolemy Gray, I'm probably just gonna watch this final episode and move on. And I think they've done a good job here. Interestingly, the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes is at 87% for the critic ratings. I like that. And then the audience score is at 100%. It's only 14 users, so, not a huge sample there, but that's dope. And it sets things up to where I feel like other Black creators who don't necessarily have some of the more sexier topics, or premises for their shows, that they can go tell some of these other stories, and the people who control the purse strings and greenlight this stuff will see that they can be successful. They can be critically acclaimed, and they drive subscriptions. They drive viewership. So that's that little piece of it. The last thing we see is the confrontation that we were introduced to in the opening of the show. Nina, the widow of Reggie, his great grandnephew. This part of the show, in my opinion, is not really all that well handled, if I'm keeping it funky. The fact that her ex-boyfriend, he was a married woman, was married, and her ex-boyfriend returned from prison. I can't remember how many years. I'm sorry. But he returned from prison, reestablishes himself in her life. She has 2 kids. I thought both of those were Reggie's. And this external source impacts their household and leads to the death of apparently leads to the death of her husband. And now this man is riding around in Reggie's truck. I don't know if I agree with how this part of the show has been handled, but foul stuff does happen. But we get this, and I can't even remember this brother's name, but we get the confrontation between Ptolemy, who, this is who he's been gathering string on the last few episodes, to have this showdown. And he goes about it his way. He offers to give him some money to make him disappear. But we already know at the close of the last episode, he said, I'm getting ready to kill me and MF. So, the money is just a way to lure this piece of shit human being to him so that he can deal with him. He has clearly has no interest in paying this man his money to leave Nina alone. And and it's easy to point the finger at Nina, and just like Jada Pinkett Smith, art imitating reality, or whatever the saying is, It's very easy to look at her and say, I hate her. You know, what's up with her? How could she allow this to happen? So on and so forth. And then it also points to the relationship that we've learned about with Cynthia. And here is Ptolemy. That's his world. Cynthia is his world. And Cynthia got him away from carrying out what he was supposed to be carrying out for Coy Dog, because he was running around trying to keep her. So much to the fact that we saw him sitting here ready to kill himself when he didn't think she was coming home to him. So they had this interesting relationship. Lastly, because I got to get ready to get off of here, my other reaction piece or reaction thought is, ironically, here we are now, $40,000 in this account, this checking account, tens of millions of dollars being in this estate or this trust or whatever that's managed and overseen by this 17-year-old who's not a blood relation. But the sad thing here, the silver lining here that is a sad thing here, is that because the family relationships were so frayed, here it is, Niecy and Hilly are over here kind of, they don't look to be poor, you know. The house is nice. They may not live in the nicest neighborhood or whatever, but the inside of the house is nice. But we don't see neither one of them going to work. You know, none of them have mentioned anything about a job. But Hilly is the one who seems not to have, not to be gainfully employed or not to have any plan A or anything in the works. And Reggie did what he did and got in trouble. He was doing these odds and ends jobs, contracting and whatnot, home, little jobs here and there in the community. Whereas if anybody had really paid real attention to their great granduncle or whatever, Ptolemy, before he got all the way where he is, this whole family could have been so much better off in a number of different ways, because he had the money to help everybody out or to help in the right ways if people chose to use the money in those ways. But now he just kind of going along in this last week and a half or 72 hours or whatever the hell it is, however much time has elapsed, and it's just like waving a wand with some money. And who knows, that doesn't really fix. You can't always throw money at stuff and get great results. They could just go out here and buy a bunch of material stuff that they can't really maintain. You can buy it, but maybe you can't, maybe you can't replace a Maybach wheel or get a tune-up or, some planned maintenance on a Maybach, but you can go buy the Maybach or pay a monthly insurance on some luxury car. Like this money all that this money represents, and all of the black lives that were affected in amassing this amount of money. And you might give it to some people and they sit out here and just squander it, really. Just put it back into the local economy in whatever kind of way. Versus, Reggie's two kids going on and being some kind of professionals or entrepreneurs or something. So that's kind of what I take away from Ptolemy. Maybe you just like, man, I just want to see who the F he getting ready to kill. Maybe that's your interest in the show. But like I said, man, I think overall it's been well done. Excellent performances by Samuel L. Jackson. He's kind of been in his wheelhouse, playing an older character. Fishback has been really good in my opinion as Robin. And I just think all in all, man, I think it's been a pretty decent story. And like I said, the sad thing is we just got another 55, 60 minutes of the show, and then it's gone forever. Comparing it to other limited series, I am a little concerned how early in this final episode which is named Ptolemy, how early in this episode will hey, how you doing, Janine? I saw you change the name. I hadn't watched your recap yet because I wasn't sure if that was you. Because there's another channel with a similar name, but obviously you can name your channel what you can name it. But anyway, I'm getting ready to get off of here because I got to get back to work. But no, but how early in the show, in this episode, do we get the final conclusion or whatever with Ptolemy? Hey, what's if you're still on here? What's the boyfriend's Nina's boyfriend's name? I can't think of it, and it's not listed on here on what I'm looking at. But when does Reggie's killer, apparent killer, when do him and Ptolemy have their showdown, and how much left of the show is after that? You know, how much time do they devote to showing us where these characters go in the next 3 months or the next year, or what does Robin go on to do? You know, where does her relationship go with the other brother? How do things change for Niecy and Hilly? That's the kind of stuff. So that's why I'm asking that question. How early does Ptolemy and Nina's boyfriend, how early in the episode does that get resolved? And then with these limited series, when they go to tie up all of these loose ends, how much do they give us, you know, to see what happens with these characters down the road? So that's kind of what I'm watching for the final episode, is when that final showdown happens, and then what's like the resolution from that, who gets harmed in the midst of that showdown, and then, like I said, how do they bring the series to an end with a few characters that we like to know what happens with them. What happens with Ptolemy as the subject of Dr. Rubin's experiment? You know, he keeps telling him, you know, your impact on the future of the drug that we're developing, and how we'll be able to treat dementia or Alzheimer's, whatever it is, for people, you know, for hundreds of other people or thousands of other people. This is so beneficial to that. What happens in that regard? So that's kind of where I am with the show. I love it. I think it's been done really well. It's great to see it getting some love from critics and viewers and whatnot. And you know, shout out to them for picking a good source to make the to make the series out of. And I hope that there are others out there who continue to look around and maybe find, you know, some prolific writers like a Walter Mosley, and just whatever good books are out there. And that we get some different types of stories like this. They don't have to deal with sharecropping and you know, families that have these really stressed or strained relationships and whatnot. We could tell something else, but yeah, I just enjoy the series. Anyway, that's my reaction to it. I'm out of here.